Use the rolling pin with your fingers out straight like this, and notice that I'm standing really close to the table and I'm right over my clay and I'm slowly rolling it out. I want to make sure to not get it too thin in any spots. If I pick this up and turn it to the side, I can see that this side is getting a little bit thinner and this side is still pretty thick. Every once in a while, just, bless you. Every once in a while, just make sure that you flip over your slab carefully. Don't flip it like, just like gently flip it over, and that way it won't be stuck to your canvas mat. This is not, it's meant to keep your clay from sticking to the table, but sometimes it does get stuck and it makes it harder for you to roll it out. So this is getting bigger. I can see that I have a spot right here that's getting a little bit thin, so I need to be careful to not roll too hard on that spot because I don't want it to get any thinner. Now some of you might get a different shape. Mine is really long and thin, but some of you might end up with one that is more wide, so we'll have to see how your pieces can fit on there. So I'm gonna try it right now. Okay, can I fit both of these pieces on there right now? Nope, so I gotta keep going a little bit. Now when I'm close, I need to decide, am I gonna try to get it to go longer, or do I need to try to roll it the other way to get it to be wider? So I'm gonna see if I could fit this a little bit closer to the edge over here. I could maybe just roll it out a little bit and fit it over here. Let's see how it's going on the ends. This is pretty close too. That might even be closer. So I'm gonna keep going the long way and see if I can get them to both fit at the same time. Okay, let's see if that will fit. Okay, that's good. All right. When you're ready to cut out, there are lots of tools that you can do that with. There's this tool called a fettling knife, and it is not super sharp. It's not gonna cut you if you put your finger along the sharp edge, but you do need to be careful with it. It is a knife, and this edge right here on this tool is really thin. Any thin edge that you can find is really good for cutting. However, this edge, you see how thick that is? That is not good for cutting. That is a tool that you can use to smooth things together. It's for rubbing the clay smooth, and you could use it for that, but the other end is great for cutting. Let me show you another example of something that's not good for cutting. This is a little tool for drawing in your clay. It looks kind of like a pencil. It's called a stylus. And notice how much wider it is than the other cutting tool. So that is going to make a gigantic gash through your clay, and it's going to make your clay have a lot more clay globs or boogers, I guess. Kind of gross looking, but let's go with a nice cutting tool. If someone's using one, chances are, if you don't have one nearby, there might be one at a different table, or it might only take them a few seconds to cut out. So you can just patiently wait while they cut their things out. Okay, I'm gonna make sure my rectangle is completely on the surface of the clay and this piece is fitting on there at the same time. It's really tight, but that'll work. And then I'm going to make a cut that goes straight down into the clay. I don't want to have my cutting tool leaning in like this. I don't want it leaning like this. I want to have it going straight down. And I can't just lightly cut it. I have to cut all the way through until I can't go any farther. So I'm feeling that I'm cutting all the way through to the canvas below, and this piece should easily pull away if I've made a nice cut. Also, do not hold your cutting tool like this. This is not a great way to do that. You should be holding it like this so that you can slice through the clay. And again, like I said, it's not super sharp, so even if you did hold it like that, it's not gonna cut you, but just be careful. Also make sure that your pieces are not going to move while you cut. When you get to a corner like this, make sure that you cut past the corner and then take your cutting tool out and cut the other direction. Now the circle is tricky. The circle, you might want to stand up, and you do have to hold your tool a little bit more straight up and down on this one. You're just going to come around the side of it. There's one side. Notice I'm not leaning the tool at all. I don't want it to have like a slope on it. I want it to be straight. Okay, now these pieces that you have, you can kind of set them aside. I do want you to add a little bit of water to them because they're already starting to dry out. Every moment that the clay sits out in the air is evaporating from the clay and it is starting to dry out. So you'll just get a little bit of water on your fingers and just kind of rub it over the clay so that it doesn't get too dry while you're waiting to use it. You're just gonna set those aside. These pieces, once you're done with them, you could pass them to somebody else. I don't know that we have enough where everybody has one, but you can just pass them to somebody else, and if nobody needs them, just put them back up on the table. One quick reminder, if you have a cutting tool on the surface of your table and then you start rolling something again, you need to move your tools out of the way or you will break them by rolling over them. You will literally smash them. So keep that in mind. If you're done with your rolling pin, then get out your cutting tools. If you're gonna use the rolling pin again, you need to put the cutting tools back in the tool container. Thank you. So once you have your pieces all smoothed out, like these edges here, if you have all these little crumbs and stuff, you might wanna just smooth them out a little bit, especially the edge that might be the top of your cup. You want to have that nice and smooth. And then we're going to decide if we're going to decorate it before we stand it up or if you're going to decorate it after you stand it up. So some of you might want to come up to the supply table and get things like shells or other stamps. There's some different stamps up here. And these are things that you can press down into the surface of your clay. If you have something that you're going to attach to your mug that's going to stick up from the surface of your clay, that will happen later after your mug is already rolled up and it's turned into a mug. So we'll wait on that. But if you are going to add any texture to your clay project while it's here, you can kind of get some different tools to roll on there. You could do some stamps. Put this one on here like this. With the stamps, you have to make sure to press firmly, but you don't want to press so hard that you change the shape of your mug. So if I'm going to press this on, and it's mostly still the same shape. But if I don't press hard enough, it's not going to show up. So I need to kind of press pretty firmly, smooth it all in. If there's a spot that doesn't show up, I may not have pressed hard enough. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be the top of my mug, and this is going to be the bottom of my mug. Now I'm ready to stand it up and see how it fits together. So I'm going to carefully peel this up off of the mat. I don't want to change the shape of it, and I don't want to bend it too much. If I bend it a lot, watch what happens. It's starting to crack. We don't want that, so we're not going to bend it very much. We are going to wrap it around this piece and see how it fits. It should fit around your mug like this, the bottom of your mug like this, and then the seams just kind of press together like that. If yours is too long and it wraps tightly around the base, but it overlaps on the edge, you could overlap it, that is fine, but you're going to have a bulgy spot where it's really thick. So if you want it to fit nicely like this, and it's too long, you can just take it back down, lay it flat on your mat, get your cutting tool, and just trim off a little bit. I've got this piece that kind of sticks out, so I could do that with just that one little piece to trim it back to the right size. Then I can stand it back up again, and I can put it together. Now, how do we glue things together with clay? Go ahead and say it. Slip, score, and smooth. Oh my goodness, I thought you'd know it by heart by now. Okay, so that's where this nasty bucket with a toothbrush that has never been used by anyone. Oh my goodness. It is a toothbrush because those little scratchy bristles are going to be scratching the surface of the clay, which almost makes it like Velcro. And then the wet stuff is called slip, and that's like your clay glue. So you're going to score and slip in one motion with that toothbrush. This edge here at the bottom is going to touch the edge of this part, so I need to do the edge of the base. Score that, score and slip. Then I can put that down. I can pick this up and move this back out of the way. And I can push these together. I want to make sure they're really tight. Oh, I didn't slip and score right here. So would that stay together in the kiln? I mean, maybe if I'm really lucky, but it probably won't. I'll probably have a crack there, and then my hot chocolate's gonna be just on the table. So make sure you do that part too. Don't get too much water, because if you get too much water, it's gonna be nearly impossible for you to smooth those edges together. Once you get it up around there, I want you to take the palms of your hand here, and you're going to kind of hug the bottom of your mug so that it kind of pushes in towards that base. It's gonna just squish in. There's some cracks around the edges. I'm gonna turn it upside down so you can see how that works. See these cracks right here? Those are a problem. Even though I scored and slipped, I really need to make sure that those are squished together. So I can just kind of push in without wrecking my clay. I'm just gonna gently push in so that those cracks smush together. Now I'll have an easy job of smoothing this stuff out because those gaps are smaller. So I'm gonna get a different tool. This tool, the one I was showing you earlier, that's not good for cutting. There's other tools like this that are great for smoothing things out. We wanna make those cracks invisible. I want you to hide them. Like, wait, where'd they go? I don't know, they disappeared. No more cracks. So we're gonna smooth them all out.